That's how stuff works.
I'm glad that we didn't have any context for that because
Yeah.
it makes it funnier.
Oh yeah, no. We're on camera.
Whoa. We're here.
What's
Yep.
up,
Hi.
people?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Well, I was in London for the weekend.
Ooh.
London.
Yeah. London.
Do they have an official tea time? Is that a thing? Like,
Yes.
Did the world stop and everyone took a sip?
Actually, there's around 4:00.
Okay.
You see a lot of people actually like they will just go inside or they'll like shuffle away. It was actually kind of funny. But not like everybody does it, but you
A
definitely
significant portion.
yeah. It was kind of neat. It's definitely a cultural thing.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I mean, like, other cultures they have like daily days or like daily times when like something will play over the loudspeakers and everyone prays and stuff. So tea is kind of like that. It's like a English prayer, right? Tea time,
Yeah.
praying to the pagan gods of their forsaken island.
Herbs.
I must say, one of the best parts about being in London was London itself was gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, and architecture older than my state. But we took a bus ride to like the chapel where they got married in the Surrey countryside, and holy fucking balls, dude! Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
It's a lovely place.
Yes, and the cows and the horses and the fall trees. Oh my God, there were actual colors in the trees.
We
It was
can get that in
amazing.
America, just not this part.
Not here.
Not here. No.
Yeah, no, but it was beautiful. I loved it. I need to go back to London. I was only in London proper for one day. Then I was where the wedding was for another day, and then I went home.
Well, I need to go back to UA because I've got some hero learning to do.
Yep.
Like that segue? That was great.
Yeah, no, that was
That
all
was
right.
it, yeah.
Going from the UK to the UA.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm about it.
What
So-
does UA stand for? Do we ever discover that? I don't think.
Oh,
did.
actually, that's the thing. UA is actually. Oh my God, it's really complicated because UA.
I know
it's a
what it
Japanese
references in
word.
real life.
It's a Japanese word. UA. There's a whole. Oh my God, it's a whole thing.
Oh, so it's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
language joke?
It's
Okay.
So
Oh.
Yeah, and I know like his school is like NUA, like his old art school that Horikoshi went to. So I
Yeah.
imagine it has also something to do with that. but-
UA, is AU. AU is their word for hero.
Okay.
So AU UA.
Okay, that's
just-
fun.
I
Yeah.
just assumed it was University All Might, but
But yeah, this episode we got our first introduction to
the villain of the
Overhaul.
season.
Yeah, Overhaul, who has another name that I don't remember, and
CA.
yes.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that
God!
one.
It is actually he is.
Seiyu Haikyuu.
Yeah.
Shio Hokusai, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, Shie Hakusei.
Something like that.
It's
I'm going off my
Kai
very
Kai
memory.
Chisaki.
No, it was not that at all. But yeah, like it doesn't matter. He's Overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, he's
and we-
Overhaul.
We met him.
He complains about the air quality while wearing essentially a plague mask, and so it must be really, really bad if he's got something to say about it.
There was okay, talking about that scene just to get into a nitpick right off the bat.
Okay.
I watched the dub. You watched the dub.
Yes, I did.
You watched the sub.
Yeah.
And there's a joke about how it's like it's enough to make somebody sick, and then double or twice in the like he says, "Oh, don't worry, all these guys are already sick."
Yeah, we've been sick for a while or something like that.
Yeah. I didn't get the joke in the American version. I got it when I watched the Japanese.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't I'm not sure. Then again, maybe that was just because the first time I watched it in Japanese and English. When I watched it in English, I might not have paid enough attention. When I rewatched it in Japanese, I actually
Might have
got
done
some
it.
stuff.
You have to pay attention because you got to do the reading.
You got to do. It's all about putting in the work and the love of the craft.
So we find out that Overhaul is like ex-Yakuza, which I thought was like badass because I didn't even think about like the idea of the Yakuza existing in this superhero world. And they're kind of like, well, they kind of diminished because they were all just, kind of just thugs at that point.
Yeah,
And
they ain't shit when supervillains exist.
Yeah, when we have supervillains, they sort of just disappeared in the shadows. But this guy knows how to organize crime, which is like, how did it take? I mean, I guess All for One was already organizing the crime himself, but it's kind of wild to me that it's taking this long for like, hey, we could probably like organize and have like a system here and really take over if we want.
Yeah. so I was a little bit concerned because they weren't dropping the Y word for a little while in the Japanese version, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like-
and I remember an article from a few years ago that like the Japanese government wasn't cool with people portraying Yakuza in media and stuff, so I wondered if it had something to do with that, but then they said it.
Yeah, they finally said the word Yakuza, but I think they're not gonna. I think they're trying to stick away from
Not
it because
harp on it.
yeah,
What-
because
what matters is that it's organized crime, right?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
a mobster.
Yeah.
And that's partially because the Yakuza are a very real thing in Japan. They're also, it's a little bit
complicated.
strange. They're a very complicated organization because
So,
they,
some people
they've
see them as heroes.
they've
like-
They're
straight up
very powerful vigilantes, essentially.
they've worked very closely with the Japanese government from time to time because they're such a big criminal organization
Yeah.
that trying to remove them has been difficult, nigh impossible, without causing extreme problems for the infrastructure of Japan. That is how big the Yakuza is in real life. Here, on the other hand, it's funny, they've actually diminished because heroes are a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a big statement. That's a bigger deal in Japan than here.
Yeah.
When they say like, oh, the Yakuza ain't shit no more.
Yeah, and I found that very interesting, and it's very cool to see an actual criminal organization, be a centerpiece for this arc.
Yeah.
Um,
I knowing nothing about Overhaul going into this, like as soon as I heard that like kind of got me excited. And I was like, that's an interesting wrinkle for this guy, and that gives him a good, clear purpose where he's like, no, we have to essentially organize this. We need to have an idea of, because he starts going, you have this plan, but you have this dream, but no plan. That just makes it, a wish. That's you gotta have something going here.
Yeah, I liked that version. Again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about English versus Japanese. In the Japanese version, what does he call it? An illusion or something? A delusional. Yeah, is the delusion. I liked in the English version, which is a dream without a plan is just a wish. And I'm like, ooh, that's such a good line.
And it's just
Whoever localized that, good job.
Yeah. But yeah, so people fucking die?
yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was. Oh man. So
they
big
kill-
sis Mag.
Yeah, they killed Mag, which she's like one of the more likable ones. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
I think that's why she was killed. But
yeah, kill the one that's actually like the nice one, that
the one that actually seems kind of cool.
yeah. It's also
And then all the other villains are super pissed.
Yeah.
So it gives them something to care about, right? But
yeah. Kenji, I believe, was her name. They call her Kenchan, or was it Kenchan or Kenny? Actually, I wasn't sure in the Japanese version. When she thinks back to her friend.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, she refers to her as Kenny in the subtitle, but I don't know if she says actually Kenny there or Kenchan.
yeah, it is a little funny to get the Naruto flashback just before she dies.
Yep. Here's a little bit of her before, but
We're
yeah.
gonna ground this girl and make you feel for her so
Yep.
she can get vaporized. pretty
Which,
quickly.
by the way, yeah. So I wasn't expecting them to go that hard because I remember seeing that in the manga, like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
the whole top half gone, blood everywhere, and
pretty
yeah,
brutal.
I was expecting them to do the negative thing, and they did the negative thing.
But then they actually
But-
showed
but
you
then-
the blood.
yeah,
Then
but then
they
there's
show you blood hitting the fucking camera.
Yeah, I
Oh.
liked that. Like the
They
blood on
Saving
the
Private
lens
Ryan
was great. That was an excellent use of blood and violence right there to be like, oh, this fun and games superhero story suddenly feels realer.
Yeah. And yeah, you had the Yakuza guy coming in there like, you step up and I will, and that was pretty freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie, getting to like, just actually for a moment there, like, oh shit, this is serious.
These guys are actually gonna kill each other right now.
Yeah. And they also, one of them loses an arm.
Yeah,
Like,
Press jumps in because he's freaking out because he's like, he just blew up Mag, so we're gonna stop this guy right here and now. And hand-faced dude, whose
Yeah.
name I always forget, Shigaraki.
Yeah.
He's the only one smart enough to go like, I think this guy's gonna fuck all of us up. You should not get in there. And
Yeah.
But
Press learns the
you know,
lesson.
kind of playing into Overhaul's point, he can't control his people,
Yeah.
and he can't stop them from getting themselves hurt.
Yeah. And that's, so I'm not going to spoil much, but the evolution of the League of Villains in the manga and in the show is such a fascinating thing to watch. And
That excites me because I feel like so far in the show they've been like they have felt like an underutilized
I'm gonna
thing.
give you the smallest spoiler. They get a whole arc.
Good.
Yeah.
I would like that.
I'm sorry if nobody wanted to hear that at home. I don't think that's that big of a spoiler that they get an arc, but it's really good. That's why I'm like, you should be hyped. If you're a fan of the League of Villains and you haven't read the manga, you will be in for a treat later down the line. And here is where we start to see this really come together.
Okay.
So, yeah, I am in love with like a lot of this arc, to be completely honest with you. And the introduction of Overhaul is a great. I loved it here. I loved it in the manga, and he's got the best theme. Oh my god, did you hear his theme song?
I need to listen to it again.
Oh my God.
It was like a hip hop thing, which is it's different musically from what we've heard so far, and I think that's part of the excitement. It's just like, hey, we've had this style of music this entire time. We had a little bit of opera when One for All showed up. Now we get hip hop.
Yeah, menacing
The
hip-hop.
young guys are in here now.
Yeah. It was really surprising when I started to hear it, but I'm like, okay, yeah, no. I know a couple of people are definitely going to take this and make some remixes out of it because it is fucking great.
But Overhaul quickly shows that he didn't come here alone. He is suddenly assisted by, was it 3 guys?
It was at least 3, I think 4 actually.
Enough.
Yeah, one of them gets iced by Shigaraki.
Yeah. And
Both showing that like, hey, yeah, don't touch either of us. We'll kill you.
yeah. Look at this. The 2 bosses have instant lethal powers. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And I will say what's smart about Overhaul's introduction here and where he's introduced and all that, it kind of makes you start to like the League of Villains. Like I think before this, you see them as the villains.
Yeah,
but now there's
they
this
also
other
seemed
dude.
like purposeless, and this feels like they're now having something to like really do.
Well, and also like they care about each other, and that automatically makes you like them more, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, no, we're friends, and you killed our friend. We're very upset, and you immediately feel more for them.
Yeah. And that's good. When you have an ensemble of characters like that, you absolutely need to give a shit about them, even if they're bad guys.
Yeah, I think this is where Horikoshi actually figures out how to make this side of the story start to feel like it matters to the audience.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You can have a bunch of antagonists who don't get along with each other, but creating a dynamic off of that is really, really tough and can't sustain itself. Because watching people bicker and go at each other and like be shitty only has so much appeal. When you have a bunch of villains who are bad people but can get along and function, that's when you can create something that's truly fascinating to watch. And that's why this is always so interesting with the League of Villains. They started off rougher, but the more they work together, the more lethal and more interesting they become.
And now they're reminded, like I think he's taking a cue from Yoshihiro Togashi now with Hunter x Hunter. This is feeling a lot like the spiders in Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
In that like they have a brotherhood. Even the area they're in is kind of like the area
dingy
in
hangout.
Yeah, the little hangout they have in that one in the
York's new arc.
York
Oh
New
yeah,
City
when they were
arc.
like they were in the fucking warehouse.
Yeah, like it even kind of visually looks like that a bit. And
oh my god, you're right. I
Yeah.
forgot that they literally have almost the same setup.
Yeah, and so it's like they're feeling a lot like the spiders, and I'm starting to like them, kind of like how I kind of like the spiders.
The spiders were they were a family.
Yeah,
And that this
they
this
suck,
seems like
but they're a family.
yeah, oh yeah. And like I'm not gonna lie, the spiders are my favorite villains in all of
they're
anime.
real good.
Like 100%. If
The
you
fact that you have such complicated feelings about them.
yeah, because they are terrible people.
Oh yeah, evil.
But they have their own set of morals, codes, ethics.
And they're fiercely loyal to each other.
Yes.
And that goes a long way.
Yeah. And so, you're going to start seeing that here, and that's really cool. And that's why it's so hard not to talk about future stuff. But seeing Overhaul here, he fucks shit up and then bounces. And I love that Shigaraki's like, you brought him here without finding out his intentions. And like twice it's like, fuck.
You're right. I messed
shit.
up. I'll go get him. He's like, no, you idiot. You'll just get yourself killed. He's
I
like,
was-
I'm responsible though.
I will say, did Twice use his character gimmick at all throughout that entire bit?
I don't think that he did actually.
Like there's no dual personality thing going on there.
Yeah, I think they just knew that it wasn't the time and place for it. I mean, they probably could have fit it in.
I mean, it's kind of a a lame bit anyway, in my opinion.
It
but
sometimes works and it
Yeah.
often
usually
doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah.
I did really like Overhaul just being like, hey, all right, you know what? This seems like a good stopping point. I killed one. You killed one. I owe you an arm.
Yeah.
we're equal.
But
for
right now, this isn't gonna help either of us just killing each other. That's only gonna bum both of us out. Let's do this when let's cool our heads and try this again later.
we'll renegotiate later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, damn, like this guy is probably. And what I like about that is Overhaul's history with like crime dealings and stuff. He has probably had similar situations occur where it's just like, all right, I've seen this. We have two organizations. They're not getting along. They really need to work together. And if we leave them in this room, they're just gonna kill each other. I'm gonna
Come
leave.
back to us when you're ready to be an adult about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what
That's
it
kind
felt
of the
like.
whole.
Yeah. And also, oh god, there was one point that I was thinking about.
That
Shoot, I
little
can't
dude
remember.
who looked like he was basically a bean riding on a giant guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what his deal is, but I'm
Who
looking
run Barter Town?
I know. It was definitely a Master Blaster situation, and I can't wait to see what they do.
And yeah, if I recall correctly, I think these guys do get some fleshing out. Some of the Yakuza guys. So
It's going to be an interesting arc. But yeah, so all that happened. We get to
Yes.
meet Overhaul for real this time. We get to see a little bit more of the League of Villains. We lose one. But after that, it's back to Midoriya.
It's hero
and-
time again.
Yeah, it's hero time. And he's looking to get to basically be an intern. And he's asking different agencies. And the first person he calls is Gran Torino. And Gran Torino's like, well, All Might did have a sidekick.
it's like I don't really want to deal with you again.
Yeah. I'm working on things.
Yeah, I'd like to think that that's true. I'd like to think that he is busy with something at the moment. But yeah, it's also like, oh my God, these kids! I don't have time for this.
I keep forgetting that his name's Gran
Torino.
And every time you mention his name, I just think of fucking the Clint Eastwood song.
Gran Torino.
Fucking movie.
But I will say, first of all, good to see Gran Torino again. I love that little dude. But also, this is in the manga where we got our first glimpse at Nighteye. Our first real glimpse. Without the fucking random new guy saying, oh, well, there's also this dude, which is kind of a bummer. That this was actually a better reveal, and I wish they'd left it for that, but oh well.
Yeah. But, I guess it feels a little less like a retcon if it's kind of seeded in. Because it almost feels like a retcon when it's introduced in the manga. Where it's like, this guy was here the whole time, by the way.
I mean, is it?
Only a little bit. Like it's not a major issue, but it does a bit feel like that.
I don't know. I feel like this universe is so busy with so many different things that it's quite simple to kind of just...
Well, Horikoshi's smart enough to keep All Might's past in the dark most of the time.
Yeah. You rarely get to see him in his prime hero years in the actual...
You see a few clips here and there. He doesn't really talk about it too much. Like, you just sort of... find stuff out over time, and he just doesn't talk about it so that he can just fill it in when he feels like it, I think.
Yeah. Usually they only cover, in the first movie that they released, they covered his early years, but usually it's just like, oh, yeah, there was this big fight that he was in, and then there was this other part, but they never go into almost any real detail. So, yeah, when we get to find out that Nighteye is his old sidekick, which I have to be careful. They haven't revealed his quirk yet, so I need to
I have
not...
no idea what Night Eye's power is.
Yeah. So I have to keep that close to my close to the chest.
Though All Might subtly hinted at something, but it's so subtle that no one's gonna pick up. Even me saying that, no one if they don't know is going to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? I know the line you're talking about too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really First of all, I love his design. I just love this. He looks so intimidating.
He looks like the kid from Bleach grew up.
Oh, you mean Uryu?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks a little bit. Yeah, he does look a little bit like Uryu.
The Quincy.
If he was always at the computer all day, every day. Also, shoot, I don't want to skip too far forward, but the one who's going to introduce him, because fucking. Apparently, All Might's got problems with his old sidekick, so he's like, I don't think I really want to do this. But
he presents 3 reasons why he's not going to do it. The first is he's like, we had a faculty meeting, and we almost agreed that these work study programs shouldn't happen. You are not ready.
I also love in the background.
Yeah, all the heroes gossiping
giving
about
giving counterpoints
Yeah.
like, oh, it is rather dangerous. I think that we should
we should
supporting
encourage
this.
the people who are
just
hungry.
loudly being
Yeah.
opinionated in the
Yeah.
background. Honestly, I love seeing All Might as his normal self, just being hanging out. I really like that for some reason. It's just a small thing, but I
just
prefer that
knowing
to
he's
seeing
not
his-
having to hide anymore.
Honestly, I don't like big All Might's design that much. To be perfectly honest, I don't like looking at it too much. I love Small Might's design though.
I mean, I like both. But yeah, I mean, Small Might's design is so unique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like that the Buscemi look is a lot more.
To
I'm
be honest
interested
with you, Small Might's design. God, what's his actual name?
Toshinori.
Toshinori's design reminds me really, really heavily of 90s punk drawing aesthetic, like really lanky, sunken eyes. Like, the moment I saw it, I was
Like what, gorillas or
Transported?
something?
transported back to
I
the
was
90s.
gonna say, like,
yeah,
I
very
got a
gorillas
Gorillaz vibe.
actually, which again was very much inspired by that same art style. So, again, Horikoshi showing his homework, being a total Westaboo.
But point 2, oh man, what was point 2 on the? All I remember is definitely point 3 is he's like, I just don't want to talk to him. I can't talk to Nighteye. And that's when, and this is what I'm curious about watching it subbed, what
yes.
Present Mike says. Because he comes in and he's like, oh, emo Mike. And I'm like, what is he doing?
It was just like, what was the exact word he used?
Shinjo.
He's basically just saying like, you got baggage, just
Yeah,
over and
yeah.
over again.
Okay.
Like,
Baggage.
that wasn't the word, but it's that gist.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like,
basically.
like personal problems. Or something like that.
Emo mite though is a great term, and I will use emo mite.
Okay, he was saying emo Mike.
Yeah,
I was hearing emo Mike, like
Yeah.
he was referring to himself.
No,
I
no,
was
no, no.
really confused.
No, he's saying emo mite.
Okay, that makes more sense. but
Yeah.
Yeah,
still
it was,
kinda
yeah, it
weird.
was something like personal issues or something. That
Yeah.
he kept saying over and over again. But yeah, some Japanese equivalent of that.
Yeah. Also, the fun thing, this episode does it a couple times where they have Romanized Japanese in the background. Because there's one part with Bakugo, when everyone's talking about like Eraserhead does talk about the fact that they were like, yeah, so we kind of we all personally thought that you shouldn't be doing this, and everyone's like, oh. But then we also thought if you don't do it, you're not going to be the hero that we're going to need for the future. Heroes that we need for the future, so we're going to do it.
We're
We're
knowingly
fast-tracking
risking
it.
your
Yeah.
lives.
So, they also said we're going to put an emphasis on using agencies with good track records. So if you're basically he tells everybody look for good track records. Make sure that that you're joining a really good agency this time because
Looking at you, guy who let Ida run after Stain.
oh my god, yeah, right.
Like you are not going to get a UA student anymore.
No. Oh my god, yeah. But
To be fair, he was very distracted.
there was some shit going on.
There's
Yeah.
fires and stuff.
Yeah. But so, yeah, Bakugo freaks out, gets really angry that everybody else gets to do the program but him because he was an idiot
And Todoroki.
Yeah, and Todoroki. And he screams out Kusoga, which is in the background, and I'm like,
Yeah, they got Romaji back there.
yeah.
They did that with the last episode with the Pishi and Bishi that I was confused about. So like that, I don't know if that's just like a stylistic thing that they're gonna start doing this season more and more. Like I kind of like it.
And
I'm cool
like
with it.
not only is it there though, like it's there like behind characters and stuff. Like it's integrated with.
It
with
feels
the
like
world.
a comic panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you know what? I like it.
Yeah,
I'm
I think it's a good aesthetic move.
yeah.
Yeah, they're always making small tweaks to the aesthetic and adding things here and there.
Yeah. This season, yeah. Although I really noticed it like this season. I feel like they kind of might have chilled on it like last season. But then again, last season was full of a lot of action, so there was not a whole lot of opportunity for them to do it then.
Yeah, I will say so far this season seems like they're really holding back their best in terms of animation. Like not much is happening. A lot of standing around and talking and
Yeah.
not moving.
Yeah.
And even the individual frames don't look
Well,
that great.
part of that, I don't think it looks bad.
No, it's just not. They've had better looking talking episodes.
Well, guess why?
They're not
probably
making
the
a movie.
and they're doing the thing that I hate, which is not having a separate team for the movie, but taking the TV staff away from the show to make the fucking movie.
Is it going to be a recurring gag that Kaminari like nervously handles the kid's tail whenever
I want to know
anxiety?
how he feels about that.
I feel like they've shown the camera on him before. They didn't in this episode, but in previous ones, it seemed like it made him very uncomfortable. So I don't know why he keeps doing it. Maybe it's a static charge thing.
Maybe. But it is kind of still funny to watch Kaminari just, hey, so what do you think
Just a
about
little stress ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that they have little details like that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the important things is that in class. I think this last season, I also noticed a few times where they like put extra effort into the kids, like mannerisms and stuff, and I think that's important for them to continue doing whenever they can, because it's important for us to like these kids.
And they're gonna stick around for a while, from what I can tell.
I liked them brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
And talking. It was a nice little moment. It's a very calm little moment.
And only him.
Yeah. Actually, so
Mineta's gonna be looking up some shitty sites for it.
Oh, okay. So fun thing in the Japanese version, he doesn't say anything about the websites.
Okay.
He literally just says to himself, "I wonder what side dish I'll have today."
Yeah, no perverted joke at all.
Yeah, unless side dish is a.
It's the most I've liked Mineta in a while, because like he's not being shitty. He's just around.
Well,
Yeah.
we were just preparing you for the weirdness that was gonna come later. We were bracing you.
He actually, from here on out, if I'm not mistaken, Mineta really generally chills out with the perverted stuff.
Yeah.
And from here on out, it's less bad. There's one joke that I wish did not exist in the manga. Scott, I imagine you remember what it is.
Maybe.
I'm sure we'll get there.
Involves young girls.
I mean, they all involve
No,
young girls. Oh,
That
right.
one,
Yeah,
the
okay.
really bad one.
Yeah.
It's like, but overall, Mineta kind of A, he's not really in it as much for a while, and B, he doesn't make a lot of those same jokes. He's certainly not touching people anymore, thank God.
What bothers me with Mineta is not so much that I think it's his bit is annoying, his joke is frustrating, but I feel like he actually has some weird potential to be cool, and I feel like it's just kind of insulting every time he is reduced to nothing but I'm just gonna be the pervy guy.
Yeah.
Because they talk about how he aces all the exams, he is a smart guy, he knows what to do. He's just a coward and a pervert.
Yeah. I will accept it if they give him an arc where he cuts that shit out. I don't trust Horikoshi to do that, because he actually thinks it's great.
Oh yeah. Well, if you follow Horikoshi on Twitter, he loves to draw his characters. Let's say.
Yeah. Which there's a longer conversation about that, but I don't want to get into that here
Yeah,
because
that's
fair.
there's a whole thing.
There's a whole
with,
episode that has no Mineta.
Yeah, there's a whole thing that has to do with this is a manga for young boys. I'm not going to be bothered by that because again, there's a whole conversation about sexuality, about drawn characters, about intent, about audience.
And
It's a sticky
it's a
topic.
conversation we can have later. But I don't have a problem with Mineta being horny.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the way he expresses it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mineta being creepy is, but luckily, as we've said before, as we've said multiple times, we've had conversations about Mineta on this show before, and we've talked about the fact that he always gets punished for it. So it's you know what? At least that behavior is never encouraged or unpunished.
Glorified.
Yeah. He usually suffers pretty heavily for it, even if the audience doesn't.
Going back to the actual story. So we sort of skipped over a very important bit when you talked about that scene there, where with Mineta and Kaminari. That's after Togata is brought in to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Midoriya Togata, or is it, it's
Third year, great guy. Mr. Smiles can phase through things. Might have shown some girls his Winky in doing so, but he tries his best.
Does he say Willie in the?
I can't remember if it's Winky or Willie. It might be.
I know he says Willie in the sub, which is a great.
Yeah.
I love that one. Willie is such a great word for.
I tried to hide my Willie.
Yeah.
But yeah, because All Might is very I can't introduce you to Sir Nighteye, but there's probably someone else who can, and immediately cuts to Mirio.
Yeah.
Which, okay. So Mirio is actually is basically been full-time interning for Nighteye.
Yeah.
Which cool. Yeah, that's neat. I mean, again,
And that's why he was in last season at the very end.
Yeah, it makes
leading us
sense.
there.
Also, like we've still seen very little of the other two top 3 students, but I love those two. Like almost as much as I love Togata. But
I'm Togata, get out of here.
I'm
Yeah,
so
his bad
glad.
jokes.
I don't know what that was in Japanese. I want to know what that joke was in Japanese.
yeah,
it's
because even in the sub version, that's the joke.
That's how they
yeah,
phrase it. Okay.
I'm very curious about how what the original joke was in the Japanese version because it worked very well in the English.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, so yeah, we find out that Midoriya is a long time interning for Nighteye, and he takes him in there. And apparently, the major impression that he needs to leave on Sir Nighteye is to make him laugh.
Which I heard that and I got excited. I was immediately like, "Oh man, do we have like another King Kai? Is this gonna be like a
It's probably it's very much inspired by King Kai,
Yeah,
I think, except not like King Kai.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get there, but I was definitely in the camp of like, oh, we're gonna have like this revered master hero, but the bit is he's sad, he's not a comedian, so he makes that
yeah.
everything he's about.
Yeah, so like there's an extra twist on him though. Like it's 2 jokes, really.
Yeah.
Oh man, now I just want to see Joker meet him. Like from the actual actual Joker. Like she would be so much
Miss
fun.
Joke or whatever.
Yeah, Miss
However
Joker.
it is.
I want to see her meet Nighteye, and
He'd probably like her.
yeah, you know what? Absolutely.
She's laughing all the time.
You know, he probably has met her, and
I was gonna say, they
she
probably
is
know each
probably
other.
one of his favorite fucking people.
They have an improv duo show that they do every week.
Oh my god, and he's the straight man, and she's oh.
But he always wants to not be the straight man, but he doesn't have the chops for it. But he just won't accept it.
Oh my god, yeah, I want to see that. I wonder if
We're just
anybody's
writing AUs.
has anybody ever written comics for that? I need to find if anybody's ever written some comics for Joker and fucking is it Miss Joke maybe?
I think it's Miss Joke.
Yeah, Miss Joke.
Because when you were saying Joker, I was thinking the Batman villain.
in-
Which
in-
also,
well,
if we could get all 3 of them in a room.
In the sub, I think she is called Joker.
Is it? Okay. Well,
That's
I'm
how I
I'm
know
not
her.
sure.
Yeah. But I would love to see those two. Oh my god, oh man.
Yeah, if a fan artist wants to do that, please send it to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because here's the thing. They've got a perfect Japanese style comedy act where you've got somebody who's more who's the straight man and the one that's
And
a
like
little
the goof.
wacky.
Yeah.
That's a very common Japanese stand-up act for 2 people.
That's exactly the context she was introduced in too. So-
Yep.
But
So-
you still skipped over something though.
Um,
This is where All Might reveals something in his
Oh,
brain.
yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, I did skip over something
Very important.
Yeah. And you know what? As somebody who had read the manga and was rewatching it, I kind of forgot how big this
glossed over.
drop is, and it's actually really big considering the premise of this entire series.
Yeah. It's like when you find out Neville is also the chosen one in Harry Potter.
Yeah. So as we find out, All Might originally was looking at Midoriya what is his name?
It's Mirror.
Okay,
Yeah.
Midoriya Togata to be his successor.
I think we knew that. I think the last season ended with that.
It might have.
reveal at some
I don't.
point. 'Cause-
I don't
'cause
know if they revealed that in last season, but I could be wrong.
Because I think we saw almost that exact scene of him talking to the principal and being like, he
Maybe.
idealizes everything you are or whatever.
Yeah, actually, did they?
Chad is saying they did not.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So I guess you just got spoiled at some point.
maybe because I could have sworn that they did talk
Yeah.
about that.
Oh, okay.
Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I guess it was a reveal for some people.
It might not have been. It might not have been as clear, but there was.
They
was
said he was the
definitely alluded
closest to number 1, including the pros, but
But they didn't specifically say that.
And the
All
principal
Might-
says something along the lines of, "I think we've got a perfectly good successor for you right here."
Yeah,
and then he starts talking about him, and then the
Yeah,
cuts
and-
over to
but
him.
this is the one where he specifically said, if I hadn't met Midoriya, this guy would
Okay,
have the
gotcha.
powers.
yeah.
I see.
Well, and that
like
is
just straight up.
Yeah, and that is a very big deal because to know that
What might have been.
to know what All Might have been. But yeah, no, it's so
And I think it's a bigger deal later in the story when you get to know these characters more, and just the implications of what could have been and what isn't now. Like all that is there.
yeah.
But like it's, and I think like we can move on. But
Yeah. Takes him to Nighteye, which I'd forgotten about the scene. Oh, cool thing. Bubble Girl. the current sidekick to Nighteye, actually a fan design.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. She was originally written for a contest, and Horikoshi was like, "Oh yeah, no, she's great. She's amazing. Is that underboob?
Yeah,
That's
I was
some
gonna say,
underboob."
Horny Koshi came in and was like,
That's his name now. Horikoshi.
Yeah. No, that's
Whenever he does something like that, he's Horikoshi.
Speaking of Horikoshi,
Okay. In the manga, this did not feel as fetishy.
This felt a little
this has
fetishy.
made me immediately turn against Sir Nighteye, and it's like one of those things where it's like, I get that it's a bit, it's a joke. He's being like, haha,
He's not getting off on it. Like,
he's not being like, he is doing this as appropriately as you can for what he is doing, but it's still just really concerning.
Yeah, it is.
You shouldn't have a machine like that, sir.
That's a workplace lawsuit.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, if he's like putting this in the contract, like, and by the way, you're gonna have to make me laugh, or
I'm not sure that's better.
Have a cheery demeanor, otherwise you're getting the machine, and you sign your name on that. Like,
oh, you're getting the machine.
like you know it's coming. Like so you're here. But yeah, real uncomfortable when that started happening.
In the manga, it's not that uncomfortable, honestly, because it's just a quick gag in the manga.
Yeah.
But when you're actually seeing it moving,
yeah, it's a little,
so
it's a little
weird. And like someone is already getting started making some porn of it. We know it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like if the design wasn't enough, that specific scenario now is going to be a thing.
Yeah. But okay, now that with that out of the way, now that we've talked about the fact that was weirdly uncomfortable.
Let's actually talk about Nighteye.
Yeah, so Nighteye is known for his notoriously intimidating stare. And I got to admit, like, between Horikoshi and these animators and artists, yeah, now they've got that down pat. This guy looks like he has murdered people on a regular basis.
And I love the framing as it comes in, like how serious is acting, but Midoriya's like, I gotta make someone laugh. This is my big hero moment to make someone laugh.
Which, by the way,
I love the framing.
You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
I am in love with the way that Midoriya tries to do it, because it's something that's been brought up a couple times.
Yeah, the way he trained his face to be able to.
But he's never actually. Beforehand, it kind of just seemed like a joke. Like, he's made his face look like... No! Yeah. In the universe, he is actually trained to do this.
Yeah.
After he spent years since he was a young child training his face to be able to morph itself to look like All Might. And you see the progression.
And he thought he was born without a quirk.
And honestly, you kind of start to buy it when you actually see the progression of his face changing ever so slightly.
And yeah, so he comes in and he's like, all right, I'm going to whip out the best one I got. And it turns out to have been a...
big old flop.
And not just a flop. This was like...
An insult.
This was a backfire. He rolled a fucking 1 on this.
And though that makes you wonder, because like, as an audience member, it makes you wonder, like, okay, so they're not talking to each other. But it seems like it must just be on All Might's side, because Nighteye seems to... really respect All Might.
Well, okay, so here's my theorizing as someone who has no idea where this is gonna go. The episode literally ends on Mira going, "Oh no, he isn't funny," which I just kind of want to isolate that and use that.
Oh my god, yes.
Like sub drop or bit drops and stuff, just something like that.
Yes, no, 100%. I need that.
But my thought is that it's not so much that Nighteye is like, you know, I'm sure he still respects and loves All Might in some way, being his former sidekick and all. But I think it's more like, he can't do that face anymore, you jerk. He's lost the power to do that. Stop it. But yeah, like, I imagine for audience members, that must be a question of like, okay, so what the fuck is going on? They're not talking to each other if Nighteye doesn't hate All Might, obviously.
Yeah. And it is a... Nighteye is one of the most interesting characters this season, so I'm excited for the next one. I'm definitely very excited for the next episode. And yeah, unfortunately, that is where the episode caps off.
I imagine this episode was more interesting to people who hadn't read the manga.
Oh yeah.
For me, it was kind of boring, but like you were actually learning new information.
I was real excited about learning more about Overhaul. Like that was psyched, or I was psyched for that. The everything after that I thought was okay, and maybe it's just because like I kind of missed the reveal of All Might being like, I was gonna give my powers to Mirio and that kind of stuff. because a lot of that just sort of felt like rehashing stuff I already knew, and they've been really hinting about Sir Nighteye being where Midoriya was going to go, so I kind of figured that was where this was leading. And then Night Eye's reveal, I guess, was more uncomfortable than like fun, a good time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's just a bit, I'll get over it, but like still really weird when it kicked in, and it kind of left a weird taste in my mouth to end the episode on.
Well, because unfortunately, when you have a character subjecting anybody to anything non-consensual, sexual or not, it is just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it isn't about, like, honestly, if it were a dude in there, it would have been a little less creepy because of the dynamic.
I
but
feel
it
like
still
even a
would have
girl
been,
being in there would have been fine, but with how little she's wearing
Yeah,
and how
oh, yeah.
provocative
I mean-
she
Yeah.
already is,
Yeah.
is kind of like where I'm like, oh, this is definitely supposed to trigger some
And,
feelings.
and
here.
also, I think
Again,
the pleading beforehand didn't help.
Yeah.
Like, please don't.
But
It's
yeah,
like,
and
okay,
it's
well,
like, and it's just like, the joke here is that they're being forced into an uncomfortable situation by another hero, and it's
I
a
don't
little
think
weird.
that's the joke. Is just that he's strict in a weird way.
Yeah, and that is the joke. That is supposed to be the
The joke is that the
overall.
way he's strict is that he wants people to be happy, and that
Yeah.
and meanwhile his demeanor is very non-happy.
Yeah.
I think that's the joke. Like the non-consensual part is not really
Yeah.
part of the gag.
and that's it. Unfortunately, there are things that just
It's just
make
weird.
it uncomfortable,
Yeah.
especially in
and
motion.
visually, it's a weird visual.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
it's a weird visual, and it's where the episode ends. So it's like all kind of collides in this weird, like, oh, we don't get a palate cleanser after this. We don't get a.
It is a weird ending. I won't lie. It ends
kinda
on that
awkward.
scene, and then it's just ending. I'm like, pop.
Yeah, and like on the next time on, like she's still in that machine in the shot we see. So like she's still gonna be there next week, like probably for like maybe 30 seconds or something. But she's still there.
She for an entire week she keeps laughing.
Yeah, we don't realize that mundane report she gave. Which also important to note, the report she was giving was talking about the League of Villains and
Yeah.
Overhaul's encounter, because she's like, we went to their hideout, everyone's gone, but there was blood everywhere. We're pretty sure it was Overhaul or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
And then he's
or no,
like-
she goes, we're pretty sure it involved the League of Villains.
And he's like, not funny.
Yeah.
Didn't laugh.
Yeah, and he was
Oh
like,
my god! Night Eye is the guy who gets all of his news from Trevor Noah, Hassan Minaj, and John Oliver.
this is very important information.
What
Bubba
about
Girl,
Samantha Bee?
But I didn't laugh.
You know what? I wish I could watch more Samantha Bee. Actually.
Yeah, it's hard to get a hold of if you don't have cable.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, honestly, Samantha Bee should have had Daily Show. I like Trevor Noah. She was the better choice.
She's got more bite to her.
I
Trevor
know,
Noah
and
has
that's-
no bite. That's
but
the only problem.
Trevor Noah has.
He's nice.
Yeah.
He's likable.
Where Jon Stewart had bite.
Yeah.
Like every time Trevor Noah tries to bite, it's like a dog with no
too,
gums.
He's too nice.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sorry,
he's
that's
like
all
a puppy.
gums.
Only.
He's
Yeah.
like a puppy. Like he can't really like. It's like if a Chihuahua's barking at you, it's like it's kind of annoying. It's not really.
Yeah, I love Trevor Noah. He's a fantastic comedian, but he does not have the same bite.
Is this what
a
you came
great
here for?
topic
No, yeah.
for My Hero Academia.
Is that why we're here?
But
But yeah, no, I am excited because it's a slow start to the season, and it did not help that the first episode was a recap that added
Yeah.
very little
If this
to
were the
plot.
first episode of the season, I would be perfectly. But like I left this one like, okay,
Yeah.
is the next one gonna pick up, please? And I know it is, but like.
also,
I want it to very badly.
something that I've been hinted will be expanded on. So if you're super anti-spoiler, maybe look out. But Todoroki and Bakugo walking away to do their extracurricular
Yeah.
studies. I've been told that gets expanded on at some point. We get to see a little bit more of them, what
Yeah.
they have to
Oh,
do
yeah.
while everyone gets to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
think
real excited to see those two bounce off of each other
I
because
can't-
I like them.
I can't remember
both
if this happens.
individually.
I can't remember if that happens during this bit or just after like this long arc.
Yeah.
Um,
And oh my God, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's an added part. There's a third character, and you'd never guess who's also in that part. And it's,
Who like failed the test, or is just a? Well, you know what? I'm not gonna ask.
Yeah.
any
It's not,
yeah, I don't want to spoil, but yeah, no, there's,
They bring in another.
let me,
technically a fourth character.
yeah.
But
yeah, it's basically a mini arc, and it's super
yeah,
good.
it's like actually good comedy from Horikoshi.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope the manga does it. I mean, the anime does it justice because it's actually really funny in the manga.
I'm actually pretty sure that we're gonna get that as the intro for next season, though.
Yeah, I think this is gonna actually be like the one like season that has like one
One big arc.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be into that.
It's because this is a long one.
Although
If I were
they-
them, that's what I would do.
if they aren't beholden to 24 episodes and end up like closer to 28,
It's 25.
oh wait, so it's confirmed 25?
Yes.
Okay, then it's not happening this season.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no. It's possible if
They could
'cause
end on it.
I will say
They
there's,
could end on it.
there
but-
is enough action this season that it is possible that we're gonna get 3 to 4 manga chapters an episode.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Like, it might
it's
speed up.
possible that it could be the cap off to this arc, which
Yeah.
I would be fine with because after this one there's a
'Cause there's another arc that's kind of
that's-
not huge,
which I
and,
would
and
pref-
that would be a great opener for a season.
It would be. Oh man, you're right. Okay, so now that we'll stop talking around you.
Yeah, please.
And the audience. But yeah, this was a good first episode of this season. It was not a great second episode.
Yeah,
of this
yeah.
season.
This is the real first episode.
Yeah, it
and you know
is.
what? That's why I'm glad there's 25. There's actually 24 episodes this season,
Yeah.
and we just hit episode 1.
I like Overhaul a lot. That segment was definitely my favorite part of the episode, and knowing that he's clearly going to be kind of the main thrust of the villain of this arc has me real excited because I want to see more of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So I guess Grant, do you have any predictions for next episode?
Okay, predictions for next episode.
You're the only one who can do this. So.
It's true. Okay. Well, all of the next time ons were a lot of Deku being at Night-Eye's thing and still being like, oh, I hope I can make him laugh. So I'm going to say that something's going to happen where whether or not he makes Night-Eye laugh, he will get into this this work study program. I feel like it's pretty telegraphed that they're going to be working together in
The
some
writing's on the wall.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form. And I have a feeling, I hope it's more than this, but I have a feeling next episode is going to be a lot of like, so who are you, Sir Nighteye? What do you do, and why are you the way you are? And I feel like it's going to be a lot of that, and probably a little bit of Overhaul pulling some strings, doing some shit. Maybe the League of Villains backing off.
Yeah,
Not exactly sure where they're going to go.
I can't quite remember exactly what happens, but I imagine this next episode will be a lot of filling out Night Eye's character and letting you know who he is, because that's kind of the entire goal that Midoriya is coming in with, right? Is to understand this guy.
I will say,
Might
it
learn
was.
a little bit more about Mirio.
Yeah.
I actually had forgotten how this season kind of starts. So while watching this episode, it was a refresher course for me because I read this part of the manga back when it was coming out. So just
Yeah, it's been a while.
yeah, it is. Oh, it has been so long. But yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely excited for next week. Again, because I like this arc a lot. This arc is actually a little bit divisive for people. Some don't like this arc that much.
Really?
Yeah.
I think this arc is like, at least where it ends up, I'm really happy with it.
Where it ends up is easily the best part about it, if I had to be honest.
Yeah, but I also hope that this season expands on some stuff that gets kind of glossed over in the manga. I think that's the perfect kind of, like, not filler, but just expanding on stories that we could have seen that we didn't see in the manga.
Yeah.
But
And that would be, honestly, that would be nice because you've seen the opening. You saw that a bunch of other characters are there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's
Yeah.
a ton of characters in that opening. They've definitely filled it up back there.
So I think it's worth saying that in the manga proper, there are some of those characters could really have used a little bit more screen time. So I am hoping, like he is, that they get a little bit more development.
and to be fair, action in manga takes a lot longer than action in anime does, especially in My Hero that doesn't like to drag out its action, which I'm so glad.
Yeah.
They just want to make a good fucking fight. So like something that would take 4 chapters, 5 chapters in the manga will be done within the span of an episode here. So maybe people who didn't like it much in the manga will be happier with it here.
Yeah, I have one friend who keeps up with the manga, and she's very like, I don't think action is done very well in the manga. Like, I don't know what her problem is with it, but she seems to think that it's just not presented very well. And so that might be-
Sometimes, and I'll admit to this, it's hard to read.
Yeah, she's like, it can be really hard to follow, and this arc was like apparently has a lot of action from what I understand.
Yes.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So that might be why.
And I think that's
people
also
have a
part
great
of
feeling about it.
why right now the animation is a little not jank, but it's less
Lesser.
than, because there's a lot of action this season. I
Yes.
imagine they got to put a lot of time into that.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they've spent. So these 2 episodes that we saw were finished back in July.
Yeah, and that gives them a lot of time to focus on making the stuff we're gonna get to really pop.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the later episodes of this season in particular, because the best looking episodes of My Hero can be goddamn gorgeous, but the good thing is it never melts. It is never Dragon Ball Super level of like really bad art.
Yeah.
But
And it's not Dragon Ball Super level of dragging out shit that doesn't need to take this long.
yeah. So yeah, there's the good thing is.
Are we gonna talk shit about Super every time we sit at this table?
I mean, I could.
Yes. But
Fuck that show.
Side note, I recently rewatched some of the Goku Black arc because the dub is on Funimation and I hadn't seen it dubbed.
yeah.
I liked it better. Still think it might be my least favorite Dragon Ball arc, just kind of ever.
You want to know something funny? Well, I was in London. I was watching TV and I found like when I was scrolling through it, I found Dragon Ball Super on Pop, a kids network.
Okay.
And guess what? They're using the edited script that they recorded in case they ever needed to put it on a network where they had to censor stuff.
Hold on. So
They took out all the swearing and
Okay.
any reference to any forward reference to killing.
Huh.
Yeah, which I found very interesting.
Is he still a god of destruction and Super Saiyan God? I always thought that was going to be dicey. Like, I was kind of
you can
surprised
actually
that
you
was
can
what it
actually
was.
reference God as long as it's not monotheistic.
Okay.
So like pantheons of gods, you like just like in Yu-Gi-Oh. If
That's
you remember,
fair.
they had
Yeah,
they had the Egyptian
god
gods
cards, yeah.
because
As long as it doesn't threaten the idea of a different monotheistic.
Yeah.
because when it comes to pantheons, it is impossible to ignore Greek, Egyptian, all these different cultures that use God in a different way. But you know, if you were mentioning the Christian God, then yeah, you're running. into
original
Like when
Dragon
Rock
Ball
remembers
is
the story of Noah.
So original Dragon Ball is more of a problem than right now with their one god.
Yep, actually yes. So yeah. Anyway, I think the fact that we are now talking about a completely different subject means that we're probably ready to wrap this up.
Yeah, I guess just real quick, where did you guys like people in chat are talking about it, but I've been thinking we could talk about it too. Where did you guys watch the episode?
I watched it on Funimation. I'm subscribed to them.
I watched it on Hulu with you.
Yeah.
And Funimation.
Funimation as well. Okay, yeah, and I watched it on Hulu. So
Yeah.
those are places where you can watch the show.
I forgot it was on Hulu subbed. That's actually real nice.
Yeah. Funimation is the only place where you can find the dub, and the dub isn't perfect. But honestly, at this point, I've watched it for so long on it.
I really like a lot of the dub cast, like their how they portray the characters. I really like.
I think Justin was the perfect choice for
definitely.
Midoriya.
The thing that I never noticed.
Yeah. So while we were watching the sub today, me and Scott watched it here in the office because I hadn't watched it yet, and I noticed something that Scott, I guess, had never noticed, and apparently the dub never noticed this either. In the sub, whenever Midoriya is the narrator, his voice is noticeably deeper.
Yeah.
Because it's
Really?
Midoriya in the future.
Yeah. So say when he's a
Okay,
teenage character, he's
yeah.
talking like this, but when he's talking as the narrator, it's
That's
closer to
cool.
here.
Yeah,
I wish
it's
they
a very
did
important detail to me, but
Yeah.
I think they must have missed it. Like Japanese folks didn't point out, hey, you should be doing this.
I don't know if because I feel like the production side in Japan is usually very careful about that sort of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a subtle detail, but it's important to me because this is Deku in the future talking to you about what
I
he
think
did.
it might be. I'm not 100% sure.
That's the entire framing.
Yeah, I mean, it is
This
definitely
is the story of how I become the number one hero.
yeah.
That's the entire framing of the story.
So okay, some people are saying that the English voice is a little bit deeper.
I've never picked up on that. I've always thought it sounded like just Midoriya being Midoriya.
I mean, I won't lie. Ditto.
Like it's very possible, and
Yeah, I don't know.
Never
It's just
caught on.
it's probably just more noticeable in Japanese, but
Yeah.
at least to me.
But yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. I never noticed that because I don't watch the Japanese version. I have the dub. The only time I ever watched the Japanese version was I think it was around when the dub was starting to fall behind the Japanese version because of
season 2 or
reasons.
something.
And so I was like, you know what?
Maybe that
All
was
right,
season
I just really want to watch this. And I think it was also around the time we were doing the reviews.
Yeah.
So I kind of just stopped giving all that much of a care. But I don't think I ever noticed it because it never really processed for me that is a thing.
Yeah.
So
But when I pointed it out, then you listened. You're
yeah,
like, oh.
it was unavoidable. I was like, yeah, damn.
Yeah, that's like him with a more deeper heroic voice because he's talking from when he's a superhero.
And they even it was good because in the scene, like they literally juxtaposed the like his voice right next to him narrating and then in a scene talking calmly.
Yeah.
So it's not like he had any reason to go high or be energetic.
Yeah.
It's just
just
talking
is.
calmly on the phone. It's like and I started calling around, "Hey, Gran Torino?" And I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
That's a real contrast there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't have anything against the dub. Like I said, like Justin's an amazing choice for Deku. I really like watching subs because I love seeing the little details about I love hearing when they use English words. That's just I get a kick out of that. I like all the cultural stuff that you pick up from subs that you can't pick up from dubs because it's more localized, which they should be. It's just that's why I like subs because I like getting a little more stuff from
Whereas I tend to, if a dub is available, it is what I will typically go for unless I think it is actually terrible. Because it's just, I prefer not having to, maybe I'm lazy. I prefer not having to read. I like being able to look at the whole picture the whole time.
I'm just very intellectually curious about that stuff.
Here's the thing. I will watch a good dub over a perfect sub. Do you know why? Because fuck reading your TV shows. Okay? I'm sorry. I do not want to read something if I can watch it.
Typical first world American.
You know.
Everyone else watches their Marvel movies subbed in other countries. Yeah, like they don't go into theaters dubbed for a lot of places. Like
actually, I am sort of curious about that.
Marvel movies in Norway have subs on them. Like for instance,
in certain countries, I'm not too surprised. But look, if a sub is the only thing available, I'll watch it. But if there's a good dub available, I'll watch that over the sub any day. Because
I think it depends on the place. By the way, chat. I know Norway, for instance, English dialogue with subtitles because it's hard to get a dub ready in time.
And the reason I say that is not just because it's work. It's not that. It's not that I mind. If I were looking straight at all the visuals and still reading at the same time, I might not mind. But why am I looking at the bottom third of the action, especially if action's happening?
Yeah.
There's so many shows where action is happening and there's talking at the same time. And why should I focus on both? That's a nightmare.
And maybe it doesn't bug me because not to brag, I read very fast. I'm a very fast reader, and that might I barely notice that the subs are there nowadays because I switch over real fast.
And here's the thing, I'm also a quick reader, but that's almost still an extra step. I'm trying to enjoy this thing as it was meant to be, and and when it comes down to it, I don't know Japanese enough to watch it as it was originally meant to be, so I will take the next best thing, which is
the version made for me.
Yeah, I think just mileage will vary. I don't get judgy about one or the other.
Oh, and and that's the thing. If you prefer subs,
I'm just noting that because a lot of people who like subs are assholes about it, and I'm not. I'm just like I like them. It's fun for me. And if you prefer dubs, I don't think you're a bad person or something.
Yeah. If you were sub only because you just prefer it, cool. If you're dub only because you just don't like reading, cool.
Yeah, whatever.
For whatever reason that you like, and however you consume your media is your fucking business. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they can go fuck themselves. And that's coming from me.
Be sure to leave a comment on whether you like subs or dubs.
Yeah.
You can check this out on the archive.
This does not extend to piracy. Please support the official release.
Yes, the only time I will ever condone piracy is if there is a product that no one has made any effort to actually make available in your country, especially if it is an older piece of media. If there's something that is not available to you, that honestly you see no honest
There's
way.
literally no recourse.
Yeah, if you want to read One Piece, it is legally available to you the week it comes out. Please read it on viz.com. But if you want to watch something that is no longer available to you, legally available, pirate that shit.
Don't go the extra legal mile.
Yeah, I remember there was some arguments about content, like some old games that just aren't released anymore, and some people got upset. I'm like, those games aren't available.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
gone.
you're not stealing from anyone if no one's selling.
Yeah, and somebody, and it's like, I'm not going to pay $250 for a cartridge of that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And then some people will be like, well, you could have bought it. I'm like, and then given that person the $250, that's not going to the creators.
Yeah.
No. I'm just going to get it in the way that is available to me so I can appreciate the art. Do you know how many game developers are like, pirate our old shit? You can't buy it anymore.
I want
Please
someone
play.
to enjoy this thing I spent years making.
Yeah, because some people go out of their way to say, oh, but if you do that, you're disrespecting the artists. And the artists are like, no, they're not. I'm not going to get money either way. Enjoy my art, motherfuckers.
Yeah. So
Fun times.
we've talked about The Daily Show, Dragon Ball Super, subs versus dubs, and piracy. And I think did we discuss anything else? I think that was it, right?
Yeah, no, that was all it. That was
This was our Daily Show Super Piracy sub.
Thanks for hanging out for our generalized podcast about media.
Yeah. I'm okay, honestly, with like half of this fucking show being this sort of shit, honestly, because this is fun.
No, yeah.
But I guess that is
20-some minutes of anime to talk about. We got to stretch and fill some time.
I'd like to point out that we got like half an hour out of I remember we were talking about like half an hour seems like a bit much. No, we can talk, especially you and me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
We could talk.
Yeah. But thank you, everyone at home, so much for joining us another week of, I'm not going to call it FMK. For our MHA
My Hero
reviews.
discussion.
Yeah.
My discussion academia.
Yeah.
Don't go with that. That seems like
No, it's really bad. But
yeah.
My Hero discussions, My Hero reviews, you know what? We'll workshop it.
My Hero recap episode 2.
Bye. We're going to leave. First, I'm going to do this.